Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And today, we are going to be hanging out with the Loop Master himself, JP. JohnPaul Music UK. Oh, yeah.
JohnPaul!
We're going to kick off the show with one of his brand new tracks, which is available through DistroKid. This is Trying to Say Hello. Boom.
From a tiresome day, off the train, down the alleyway, headphones in and music on. The sun is setting, 1 minute, 1. Did you just walk past me? Did I see your goofy smile? Did I see that face that I haven't seen for a long, long while? No, I'm tired, you're not even here anymore. But you were trying say hello to me there, I'm sure. Wave right back and I shout your name, but then my brain tells me you're not on this plane. So I guess I'll carry on walking home. Hope you're okay and you're not alone. No, I'm tired, you're not even here anymore. But you were trying to say hello to me though, sure. Walking home another tiresome day, off the train down that same alleyway, headphones this time are packed away. I'm trying to listen to what you've got to say. You know I'm tired and you're not even here anymore. No, you're trying to say hello to me though, sure. You know I'm tired and you're not even here anymore. But you were trying to say hello to me though, I'm sure. I'm sure. sure.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, my friends. Welcome to the show. Let's end out that traffic noise there. This is How to Happen iOS. My name is Jade, and it's Friday here in Australia. It's the end of the week for me. I get a day off tomorrow. Woohoo! Thursday for the rest of you living around the world. So thank you for spending some time here on the channel with me today. It's going to be a really hot day here today. They're predicting 37 degrees Celsius. Yay! I can't wait. That means my bedroom's going to be 45. I really can't wait for that. So if you're in the US and it's snowing, I wish it was Freaky Friday right now. We could swap places because I much prefer the cold. Anyway, I am babbling a load of nonsense. You're not here to hear me talk nonsense, or maybe you are. More the fool you. All right. So we have a wonderful, wonderful guest on today. Been looking forward to having him on the show for a long time. I'm always at his live streams. He may not know it because sometimes I lurk, but sometimes I write, but nearly all the time I'm there. But first, today's show is, of course, sponsored by our wonderful friends at DistroKid. Yes, absolutely DistroKid. We love DistroKid here. I love DistroKid. I'm wearing the shirt. All my music's out on DistroKid, and you can release your music too through DistroKid because they are amazing. And Thomas Christ has put the link in right there. See this? See this wonderful link here? distrokid.com/VIP/Jade Starr. That'll get you 7% off your first year to release your music, unlimited music, wherever you like. Because there's so many places you can release your music on DistroKid. There's like Apple and Spotify and Deezer and Amazon, and there's even places I've never heard of. And I don't even go and check to see if they're there. But I just know they are because I trust DistroKid with my life. Absolutely. And you can too for $19.99 a year. Unlimited songs, unlimited lyrics, Spotify verified checkmark. And they don't take your money either. They just take you $20 a year, and what you make from your spins across all the minuscule amount that Spotify give us, they don't take any of it from you. There's 3 plans that are available. $19.99 a year for one artist, $35.99 you get 2 artists, and a whole bunch of other cool little things like customizable release dates and pre-order dates and customizing iTunes prices, and you can even bring in your own ISRC codes, and you get 2 artists. Or you can go the whole hog and do what I do. I use the ultimate plan for $79.99 a year, and I have too many artists. Yeah, I think I've got like 7 bands. For the greedy people who just need to have more bands than hot breakfasts like me, there's that plan as well. The good news is if you sign up using my link, you'll get the 7% off either one of these, yeah, for the whole year. So good times. That is DistroKid, and we are going to come back midway through the show and tell you something special about DistroKid that you can do in relation to splitting royalties. Oh, yeah. What do you say to that, hippie?
Boom.
Exactly. Boom, boom, boom. One more.
Boom.
Exactly. Totally boom, boom to the boom, boom, boom. Alrighty. I'm stopped talking gibberish now. I'd like to welcome you all here in the chat. I can see the numbers growing. Yeah? Like the first time I went to a prostitute. Growing. Anyway, so you're all here. I'll give you a shout out in about half an hour's time because I want to let you settle, grab your favourite beverage, chill out while we chitter chatter and play a bit of tunes, and then we can do the roll call and all your names can be yelled out on the internet. Amazing stuff, hey? So I first came across this wonderful gentleman while I was perusing the internet. And I was like, who's this funny little man in these bright coloured T-shirts, these bright colours behind him, and all these foot pedals, clicking pedals and making music. And it was JP, the man who makes music by looping. And I know absolutely fuck all about looping. And I've tried it a couple of times, and guess what? I'm terrible at it. I'm absolutely terrible at it, but I think I could be good at it. So I've been watching his videos, and I'm thinking of getting a loop pedal myself at some stage. But we're going to find out today a lot more about his music, right? Because we see him talking about gadgets on his channel and selling this and telling you to get this and doing this. But I want to know about his music, yeah, because music sometimes gets forgotten when you're a YouTuber and you're sitting here spending all this time teaching people how to make music, and unfortunately our music gets left behind. So today we're going to shine a bit of a spotlight on this man's music. So without further ado, I'd like you all to do your claps from your room. Even though I can't hear them, I will pretend that I hear them. And let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend, JohnPaul Music UK, otherwise known as JP. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
How are you going?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Good.
Good to hear. I'm glad you made it. So you not knocked off work or were in a rush to get here today?
Yeah, it's just coming to 9:15 in the UK. Knocked off work at 8. Got to the train station. Sorry, delayed. I was like, So luckily, my beautiful, lovely wife met me at the train station and zipped me over in the car and got me here on time. So I'm here. Hi. Yeah, fun.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for coming on. As I said, I've been a long time watcher, and I love what you do. I have respect for people who do looping because, as a vocalist, I know I can do it. It's just I'm too much of a Virgo. I know if I clicked something and it was slightly off, it would throw the whole song out, and I would throw a nana and go, "Nah, I'm not doing this anymore."
I think there's a lot of that stigmata back. So oh no, I don't think I can do it. The key thing for me is the very first loop. So just get that first one down. As long as you can get that first one sounding good, it's in rhythm, it's in time. All the other ones on top, you can undo them. You can go, oh no, I'll just redo that one. That's fine. It's if you've got it completely out, your timing's it's all about timing. So if timing and practice, and foot pedal, iOS app, hand loopers, tabletop loopers. It's been a long day. You can do them, no problem. And it is all about getting that first timing loop down. And then once you've got that loop down, you can add anything on top. And just go for it. Absolutely go for it. Well, the other thing as well is that for me, it's, as you say, talking about the music, it's a great creation tool. Does that harmony go with that lead? And you can just add it on top without having to sit down, plug everything in and record into GarageBand or whatever you're recording into. You can just do it and go, oh yeah, it does work. Yeah. So it's a great creation tool. It's a great notebook tool for making music.
It's definitely one of the things I love about watching your process. I mean, I like to pride myself as a pretty good singer. I've been singing a long, long time. I'm trained classically and done all this kind of stuff throughout my whole life. And I love people who just have a natural ability to create harmonies. And I fucking love watching. Oops, what's going on there? Hang on a minute. There we go. I'm sitting on my mic again.
I'm too excited.
It keeps falling out of my pocket and I sit on it. I love watching your process and how you just pull a harmony. That's a really hard thing to do as a vocalist, to just be able to hear a harmony in your head live and hit a pedal and just pull that harmony out of your ass. Have you had training singing wise, or I want to know about that.
So I started playing music at the age of 9. My dad was a sound engineer. So my earliest memories is coiling cables and hiding in bass speakers. Seriously. And helping them with what was that big. It looked like a massive sort of cable coil thing. It was actually about that big. I was about 4 years old. And then no surprise, I turned around and I went, I want to learn music at the age of 9. So I wanted to learn the piano while everyone else wanted to learn the guitar, and I just didn't know why. I thought the piano was fantastic. So I used to be able to sight read, can't do that anymore, but my piano teacher would be horrified. But the piano gave me that sense of harmony, funnily enough. And I used to go da 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 da, and I'd sing it at the same time as playing it, which was a bit weird. Then I got into school and stuff, and then there's a nice Stedford choir thing that I went to, and part of the school fine. And then I got into bands, and it was like, no, cool. Someone just went, listen to this, and I've always listened to stuff because my dad always had amazing music on, Queen, Styx, had amazing rock bands on all the time. And then it was kind of like someone went, oh, have you heard these guys? And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And all of a sudden that was it. I was like, I want to be in a band. And yeah, being in a band in the 90s. And so, of course, you had all that influence of the 80s and 90s bands. And I was always singing it. I was always singing harmonies, like for playing keyboards, and I was the harmony guy. While the lead guy obviously was singing. I've been lead myself in many bands. So I think I've got my chops through being in many different bands. And just like singing all the time. I used to sing in headphones in work and stuff, and I got told off. So
it's interesting, some of the best singers in the world are backings vocalists.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
like some, and
just got right out there.
But even like like when a huge artists go on tour, there's always like the fantastic backing vocalists. And these people within the industry around the world, Australia, wherever your country is, there's these group of amazing backing singers who like all the big people go to, and say, oh, we need to get that person in. And we never know their names, they're not household names. Or you may see them on a morning television program singing some shitty cover. And, that them from a morning television fucking show. But really, these are the people who back some of the biggest singers in the fucking world. It's amazing how good these singers are. But I guess maybe they just don't have good personalities to be.
What are you saying? Hey?
No, I'm not saying you. But
where are they leading with this?
I see you as a lead singer, though.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I mean, I'm only messing with it. Yeah, I think that like a lot of backing singers, they there's a sense of control. I think there's a sense of discipline.
Yeah.
Not that lead singers aren't disciplined at all. But there's definitely a sense of that, and if you're singing harmonies all the time, you know what the lead is.
Yep.
So you know what the lead is anyway. So it's like you can jump into that. So that's your natural stomping ground. So when you talk about me doing looping and like just dropping a harmony on the table, I'm just going, well, that's a third up, that's a fourth up, that's what it is, or that's a seventh down, and I can do that because I've had that unofficial training of just being standing next to a drummer for like 4 years, like getting like tinnitus here whilst trying to sing harmony and play keyboards. So and that was like 20 years ago. So spin forward to my early to mid 40s, and just being able to pull on that technique it really helps with that. Saying all that, it's born from looping. So I've been doing looping since sort of like, Ed Sheeran was in diapers, and like I've been able to, I'm joking, obviously, but I've been doing, I was trying to figure it out, and I think it is about 15 years. I've been doing it for about 15 years. Whenever Katie Tunstall just dropped into the show in the UK, which is Jules Holland, later with Jules Holland on BBC, and me and my dad would sit in there, we'd come up back from a gig, and packed it all away, and we sat down. We always did, and that's why Jules Holland was always on Sir Lakes. It was a great show, and it still is. And then she came on for the very first time ever and just dropped that Black Horse and the Cherry Tree track, and I just went, oh, that's what I need and want. I actually went that far that I actually found out exactly the pedal she uses, and then went and bought one. And it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare to play with. And she still uses that pedal, apparently. So it's the Akai. It was made by Akai. So it's the Akai Headrush E2. No overdub, about 45 seconds loop time. No undo, redo. One loop. If you want to put a mic in, you've got to get a mixer and plug that in. So you only had one input and one output. It was a nightmare. But because of looping and because of all these things that come from it, apps and all these flagship loopers now and everything else, you get into this thing of kind of like, right, what can I do next? And you do, it's like, it isn't, a looper is like an instrument. So you end up practicing with it. Certainly if you're doing it just vocals. So I did a track, which was, it was meant to be for Christmas, but I got COVID, but I brought it in just after January, which was my take of Carol of the Bells. And dun 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 dun,
Yeah.
and I go dun 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 dun, and then just listening to Home Alone far too much, and just trying to figure out all these little bits to add in. And it's someone else said this. I can't claim this statement, but someone said it's like adding ingredients into a recipe and making a cake, and then you just have to go, don't put too much in, otherwise it'll burn, but or overflow, and put enough in that it'll be a nice cake. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Am I
does.
talking
Absolutely. No, that makes
I'm just looking at Jade, just go,
No. Hey, this is the key thing of an interviewer. You've got to listen to your guest, my friend.
But yeah, so loop. I totally. People go, I can't do looping. I respectfully disagree. I think everyone can do looping, because if you can play the guitar, if you can play the piano, if you can play the harp, if you can play the trumpet, if you can sing, you have natural timing in you, and all you've got to do is do the thing that drummers do, which is separate these arms from the legs, and being able to push a button at the right time. And as long as you can do that, you're in. And then it's just a case of where do you go from there, creativity-wise.
So you spoke about tinnitus and drummers before, and it got me thinking. I had a drummer when I was young who told me if I helped him take out his gear after every gig, I wouldn't get tinnitus in my old age. And I spoke to him last month and called him an absolute asshole because I've got tinnitus from still, even though I was the only person in the band who helped him each week. I'm going to hit you with the opening question I smash everybody with. What does music mean to you, JP?
Life. It's life. It's I can't breathe if I don't play. For me, it's a release. It's my creativity. I am one of the most happiest times is playing and being on stage. I've been playing since I can't remember, for as long as I can remember. And it's just being able to get like a clap back or a cheer back, or just see someone go like that, even if you're playing covers. And I love it. Music to me is like music has its own language. Music is its own language, and it crosses all boundaries. Doesn't matter whether you're having a shitty day or you're having a great day. You put on a certain track and it'll make people groove. You put on another track, it'll make people cry. I think it's an incredible, powerful tool that crosses countries' boundaries. And now I sound like some kind of presidential statement, so I'm going to stop there.
But it is true. Like I think if we didn't have this bullshit language thing that we're doing now, it was replaced with music, I think we'd be in a better place as a species.
Yeah, I think so. And I think also I'd like to see, certainly, I think with music, this is just my opinion, but I think certainly with like radios and pop culture, there's a lot of closed doors when it comes to independent music. It's opening up a lot more than it used to, but then also I think you need a DJ to be brave and just go, cool, well, that was Shania Twain, here's Ed Sheeran, and then here's this guy from this local town, because he's got it on, it's available on Apple Music and Spotify and everything else. I think it'd be great to do that, and just they don't have to be so close and go, well, they're not signed to a label, so we're not going to play it. It's like, well, you don't need that now. And Ari talks about the new music industry, and the new music industry is blossoming. It's never been a better time to be a musician. You can create as many tracks as you want, and you can release as much as you want, and I totally get that. And you have to just admit that you are giving your music away for free. You are not selling CDs anymore. I tried to do that at a gig last week, and even this old age pensioner went, "Are you on Spotify?" I was like, I said, "Have you got a CD player?" He said, "The young lad's got to pay us something." I was like, "Okay." So I gave him the link. I just gave him the link and said, "Download it from there." You're no longer selling that. You can still sell merch and stuff at gigs, but selling your own music, people just go, Are you not on Spotify? And they just bring the phone out of all ages, and that really surprised me. And I think I was like, okay, that's a lesson learned. So the 500 CDs that I had pressed for the album a couple of years back are still sitting there. So yeah, and even if you give a CD away, we go, well, I can't play it.
Yeah, nobody's got one. Yeah.
So I think you've got to go, well, you're in the free market of listening to your music. and then bands can play live and get gigs. And I know a band that gets more in merchandise than they do from anything else, because they tour, and that's a great thing. So yeah, I think it's one of these things where I think I'd like to see like big radio stations be a bit more brave and just go, let's play this track, let's just play that, why not? What's going to happen? Like, you're just going to elate an artist and go, oh, that spurs me on to make more. This whole thing of having a process, like, for going apply to be here, or apply to be at like this festival, or apply to be, I get with festivals because it's a limited thing, but apply to be on a radio station. Why? There's 24 hours 7 days a week of radio time. That's my opinion, though. That's just my opinion. Don't shoot me down for that. I think once you've listened to a track, what do? You just listen to another track. So I think it's well timed that the floodgates should open, as opposed to listening to the same. There's one radio station in the UK, and I swear they play the same artist like on the hour every hour, like straight. And it's like, there is other music out there, and I don't get me wrong, I like that artist, but like, play other people's stuff.
I'd like to see more, like how here in Australia, they TV, we had normal commercial television stations, and then when everything went digital, each station opened up a bunch of other offshoots of their own channel. Like Channel 7 would have Channel 7 Sport, and Channel 7, we have this one called Channel 7 Mate, and it's like for blokes. It's so gross. It's and now let's cut to a chick in a bikini. It's just so gross. It's so wrong. But I would love to see radio stations do that with, like, hey, we've got this offshoot station that has 24 hours a day independent Spotify playlist just rolling, just with all these independent, that with no talking, no bullshit. No, I don't need to hear some guy telling me what something is. Just play it, and here's the song. That would be fantastic. What you're saying too about CDs. When I was in the US, I took some of my CDs because I did some shows there, and I gave some CDs to people I play gigs with, and they're all like, CD, and then they gave me their music, and everybody there had these little business cards with a memory stick attached to it, and I was like,
"There's my
right there you go." Yeah.
That's my business card now. This is the thing I'm trialing out, which is called Tapney. You scan it on the phone, and it takes you to wherever you want. So you can scan it and take it to like your website, or you can scan it and take it to like your playlist. So I'm like, well, my keys. So that's my business card now. So as long as I've got that, I've got my keys with me, I've got my business, and just go scan that on your phone, because everyone's got their phone with them. So just scan it on the phone, and there you go. You've got the contact. That's what I'm trialing now.
Well, that's it. See, when I was in the US, they all had these memory sticks with a card. But then I came back home, and the next year I went back, and then nobody had memory sticks with cards. Within a year, they all had things like that. All these QR codes. It just shows how fast the music industry is changing. So eventually, we know it, man. The record labels are going to all fold. They're all going to like desperately freak the shit out because they can't do what they used to do.
I think where they still win, though, is like they've got the money to do the promotion. I think that's where kind of artists just don't have that. We don't have, like, they could spend £1 million on, sort of like Miley Cyrus Flowers. I mean, like, that track, that's one track, which is really clever, by the way, because they actually used the album. I don't know if you've seen that. I looked into it, and it's actually, when you go on to like Apple Music or Spotify, Flowers is track 1 of the album. It just says track 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're not listening to a single. You're listening to the first track of the album. You just haven't listened. You can't hear the rest of the album yet. It's really clever. I like that. But think about how many millions of plays it got. It's like, well, you can just they can just throw £1 million at it and just go just like throw that in promotion, posters, adverts, whatever. We don't have that. Like, we've got some great things. As I say, I'm part of DistroKid as well, as people from my channel know. They sponsor my channel as well. But so they have some great things that you can use for promotion. But like, it's reaching the people who don't know you, and I think that's still the hardest part of it all. We're all good at, we can all make music, we can all release music, it's quite easy. The hardest part is getting that music beyond your nan, and getting beyond your brother-in-law, and like, and getting beyond the people who've like just rocked up because they went for a beer, but actually you're playing in the corner. You want to get it to people who, like, you want to, ideally, I think every musician would agree, you want to go, I'd love it if I just got my music out to 1 million people and just went, listen to it.
Yep.
Do you like it? Do you not like it? Whatever. Like just listen to it. And that's that. I think that's the thing now. We just want to be heard. We've been given the go to release, and now it's out there, and now we're all jumping to go listen to me. So yeah, multiple playlists and things like that. But the big labels, I think, like things like the Grammys and things like that. It's really good to see. What was his name? Steve Lacy, Lacy, Steve Lacy, got a Grammy. And if you don't know who Steve, not my kind of music that I listen to, but really, really interesting, because Steve Lacy hit the scene because his whole album was recorded on his iPhone with GarageBand, originally, like in 2014, 15 or something like that. So hit the scene because of that unique selling point. And then that was his studio, to the point where he even sang into the phone with a pop shield. He didn't actually have a mic.
Yeah.
And now Grammy winner. Like, so it can be done. You know, it can be done. And there's people out there who are working really hard on some cracking music. It just needs to be pushed to the next league up, as it were.
Absolutely agree. We're at our 30-minute mark, so I'm going to play another track, and then we're going to come back and say hello to everybody here, and then we're going to talk about your early times, about as a child growing up and all this kind of stuff. So you'll lay on my couch and creepy. All right, let's play this. Now, I came across this on your YouTube channel, so this is a awesome cover. It's one of my favorite songs. It's you using the Headrush loop board, doing Creep. So kick back, folks. We're going to play this track, and we'll be back within a few mementos. Grab a drink, grab whatever it is that makes you happy, and kick back, because this is something really, really wonderful. We'll be back shortly.
You were here before, couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in the beautiful world. I wish I was special. It's so very special. What the hell am I doing here? And I don't belong here. I don't care if it hurts. I wanna have control. I want a perfect body. I want a perfect soul. I want you to notice when I'm not around. So very special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep, and I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? And I don't belong here. No, no, she's running around. She's running, run, 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 whatever makes you happy, whatever you want. You're so very special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. And I don't belong here.
That was awesome, man.
Thank you.
That was really, really cool. I heard that yesterday and was just like, oh, I love that song anyway, and I love hearing it done different ways because you can do it so many different ways, and it's just an amazing song that it can be fucked with, you know. Let's say,
it's
yeah, go for
sorry.
it. No, yours.
I was just going to say, like, it's that one takes a long time to set up because it's slower, but also once it gets going, you know, it's 4 chords all the way through, so it makes it really easy to loop.
Yeah.
And then looping she's running around running out. That bit is, I just thought I'd just keep looping that round, just see where we go with it. So yeah, fun. It's a good fun track to do.
Let's say hello to the folks who are here in the chat, guys. Type something, anything. I'm sure I'm going to see a lot of somethings and anythings in the chat, so I can call your name out because I'm not scrolling. I'm working here. So, and I'll give you a call out. So we got Shaky Guitar Tutorials. We've got Kim Harden Hudson. Deep Gravity is here. Reality. Joe and Barry Glenn. Gregory O'Sullivan. Audible Video. Thomas Christ. Camp G May. What's going on at Gary G May? Brad Example is here as well. audible video. Did I say you already? Let's scroll down, see if anybody's typing something, anything. Yes. Wolfstone Studio is here as well. Robbie Stingle, Peter Johns, PPP is here. Who else? Russ8889, Ed Zielinski. What's going on, my friend? Feisty Feather has written anything. Good on you. There's Brad. Thank you all for being here today. If I've missed you out, it is what it is. I love you. And if you're lurking too, if you're watching in the background and lurking, that's all right. Don't feel like you need to write because, hey, we're all dealing with anxiety. And sometimes these chats can be quite overwhelming. JP, do you remember the music that was being played in your household when you were growing up? And who were some of those artists?
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned that a little bit before. So in the UK, there's the BBC radio stations, and BBC Radio 2 was always on in the house while I was a teenager. And my mum will kill me for saying this, but if Cliff Richard came on, the world stopped. So that was fun. But other than that, Queen, Genesis, Styx, all these different like sort of rock bands, Pink Floyd, Jimmy, the Beatles. I was really fortunate enough to be like sub-educated by my dad and by my mum, just with all this great sort of 70s and 80s music. So I'm a 79 child, so I had all this great music from the 70s and 80s that was just pumping through the house all the time. So yeah, lots of music coming out of our little house, and it was great.
Yeah, it was a really good time. Definitely, we're doing an 80s quiz for on my members thing here next week. We love our members quizzes. I'm sure everyone's going to love the 80s because there's so much good music in the 80s as well. Do you remember the first album that you purchased with your pocket money and the first one that was given to you as a gift?
So I know the first album I bought with my own pocket money because it's terrifyingly embarrassing.
Good. We've all got them. Don't worry.
The official soundtrack to The Snowman. So that was what I bought with my own money. I could barely reach the counter, put it over.
Yes.
Yeah. Walking in the air. I wanted it. I wanted that album. Are you sure? My dad must have been horrified. All this rock music and everything else. Oh. Yeah, that's what I bought with my own money. Gifted. It's probably... What did I get gifted? See, it's a bit difficult to gifted because there was like vinyl in the house.
Yeah.
My dad had just like rows of vinyl, and I'd just like go. And I'd put it on. I'd put it on a vinyl player, and I'd love it. Gifted to me though, it's probably got to be. It was one of the two, and I can't remember which one it was. It was either Nirvana, Nevermind.
Oh wow!
Or it would have been Metallica, the Black Album.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was I was like I was heavy into rock, like heavy like Metallica, like that kind of. I had a really weird time because I was heavy into Metallica and Nirvana, Red Hot Chili Peppers, all that kind of like sort of like stuff from the 90s. And then at the same time I loved all that music, and I still do love all that music. I've seen Metallica twice and they're fantastic. And then I started absolutely getting into Prodigy. And I was like, I in our school it was like you can be one thing or I was like you can't. You're with the rockers or the moshers or you're with the ravers, and I was like, can I like it all? So I was getting into like the experience and stuff, and like like that, but at the same time going like so. And then when like that mixed with like all other kinds of stuff, so I had a real big eclectic mix of music. I just loved the damn good tune, if I'm honest.
I remember when I got the Black Album, I spent a lot of time crying. This is a little bit different experience for me. I spent a lot of time crying listening to that album. For a long time, I thought it was because Nothing Else Matters was such a hard-hitting song. And then I realized it was because, no, this is the moment that Metallica have changed and will never be like they used to be. And that was, to me, I think I was crying because I was like, there's never going to be another Master of Puppets ever again. But that's okay because you know what? Music's for everybody. And the thing is, what you say about school, like when I was at school, I was a metalhead, so I got punched all the time just for being a metalhead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you like metal?
Yeah, yeah.
Punch. And it was like, what the hell? But when I left school, years later, I ran into all these assholes and they're all wearing Metallica t-shirts. I'm like, what the hell is going on, man?
Iron Maiden t-shirts and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and they don't know why they bought it. Like, yeah, like I mean, you know me like this, right? As I look like this. I had like sort of like long hair down. I've always said to like my stepkids, like, I'm so glad the social media internet wasn't like around when I was like sort of teenager, because like, you know, those photographs, they're staying as photographs. They're not going on social media. Someone's probably got one somewhere and they'll probably post it now. But it's like, my hair was here, and then my hair went to sort of like Kevin and Perry curtains, and then it sort of like grew again, and then it went again. So like I've been through all different changes, and it's all because of music. It's all because of like how I felt at the time with music. It's really weird. I only figured this out like a couple of years ago. Like I changed, apart from when it started to go and it wasn't my option. Like so, like when I had a full head of hair, it was kind of like I changed my hair depending on the style of what I wanted. Yeah, music is a persona. It's a thing. So being a musician, it's like, how do you want to look with your music? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like obviously like you know, the stigmata of when Metallica, like when James like cut his hair short and it was like like, you know, like you don't look like Metallica. Like, so it's there is definitely that was like rife in our school. It was like you were segmented based on what music you liked. I don't know if that's still the case.
No,
like in
it's not.
secondary school, high schools now, I'm not sure. I wouldn't know. Would like to comment, but certainly. And then 96, 94, 96, 94, 96. I'm trying to remember. Oasis or Blur. You were either Oasis or Blur, and then there was like the moshers and goths hiding in the corner, and that was it. Like, so if you were one or the other, it didn't matter. You still got beat up. So
yeah, I think school's changed a little bit now. I think people are moved on from music segregation, and now it's like expressing, now it's anxiety, depression, gender, sexuality, and it's all that stuff that's even deeper than music. So kids are probably even more fear now than just their musical tastes. I'd hate to be a kid right now at school, especially with Facebook around. Not only you get bullied at school, you get home and get bullied as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I had to kind of pinch myself and remind myself that like YouTube came in at 2005, and I could have sworn I was watching stuff on YouTube in uni, and I wasn't. So it must have been MySpace or something. It was something else that I was using, and I'm so grateful that like my entire life wasn't documented. You see, sort of like, you know, this constant thing while they're walking, they're going anyway, yeah, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't say I'm a YouTuber. I say I run a YouTube channel. I'm a content creator. Like I even 5 years ago, I wouldn't have said I'm doing that. But like this whole thing of documenting that everything, like I get it. I do get it. But I don't want to be like that. Like I don't want to be, you know, like, oh, I've just got my coffee, or I've just got my tea, or what. That's like, my channel is about get to the point, answer questions, give help. Like then there's other channels that are fully entertainment, and it's kind of like, we're going to do this dance today, or we're going to do, and I think the vlogging thing has turned into shorts. You know, it's just turned into 60 seconds, 30 seconds. Like this funny thing happened and this person tripped over, and that's fine. That's just a different section of the internet. So yeah, it's a weird. I'm just so grateful. My life wasn't video documented, because I tell you what, like times in early bands and stuff, sort of playing the keyboards, like just like throwing them in the air and stuff. I mean, I actually did do that, throw them in the air and play a keyboard in the air. Yeah, I think I'd just be judged massively. I feel sorry for kids. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. I absolutely do. So speaking of kids and school, the burning question, which I love asking people, were you forced to learn the recorder at school?
Absolutely. It was a weapon to be used. Forced to use the recorder this way. I'm forced to use it that way as well. No, joking. I'm messing. But yes, we were forced to use the recorder. Absolutely.
Good.
1991 to 1996, my high school days were. So yes, it was. The only good use of the music department, other than people going around the back for cigarettes, which I never did.
So you didn't have an extensive music course? Was there?
Again?
You didn't have an extensive music kind of thing at your time at school?
No. The funny thing was that this is why we started making bands in school, because the school disco at the end of the year was exactly that. It was like the girls were on one side and the boys were on the other side, and then people just went to the loo and came back and no one danced. And we were all like, we're into, like, you know, as I said, we're into sort of like all these different bands and stuff, like, and me and my friends we used to get the guitar and play on the field in the summer, and like, should we just do something with this? And it kind of born out of that, I want to be in a band. And then I just went, I'll just get on the drums, why not? So I just got some drums and then started being in drum. And then the end of the I'm trying to think now. Yeah, the French teacher, Mr. Burton, it was like, oh, I can play bass, you know. I was like, okay, let's do that. So we had like 4 kids and a French teacher playing bass, and then it got wind of it because the teachers obviously talk, and it was kind of like, do you want to play at the end of school dance disco thing? And we're like, yeah. So we're going, wow, thing, like, duh, 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 duh. This is awesome. Duh, duh. Look, he's playing bass. Duh, duh. And people going, hey, as opposed to just standing in corners. So we feel like we achieved something.
So did that lead to playing in bands outside of school? Did you do the old school of hiring out a jam room each week with stinky old carpet and a bad PA and started gigging?
What was really good where I am, so I live in the northwest of the UK, on a peninsula called the Wirral. It's just next door to Liverpool, in between Liverpool and Wales, actually. And where we were very fortunate that there's a youth club, and there was this youth club that was this like place to go, you know, hang out and stuff like that. And we went all the time, and it was just a place where they just put CDs on, or like they put like tapes on, whatever. And then it was kind of like, cool, someone started bringing in guitars and playing in the corner, and it turned into like people coming to actually jam. So that was really cool, because it was like the youth club it was just like this, it was just a dark, sweaty room for youths to go. But we ended up turning it into like, not just me, like I wasn't really like a massive influence on this, but I went, and it was just one of these great things where it was like there was somewhere to go, and do you want to play the guitar, do you want to just jump on this keyboard, do you want to just jump on the drums? And it was great. And that was kind of like my thing with that. So that mixed in with like sort of like developing like one of the first bands I was in school. Everything was about music at that point, so I was just like, that's great.
Sorry, I forgot I was put myself on mute there. I hate breathing while somebody's talking.
That's all right.
Because I did an interview once where I was sitting there going while I'm talking, and I listened back to it, I'm like, it sounds like I'm like masturbating to what they're saying. That's really weird. So do you remember your first gig in a venue, and how many people were there, and how did it go?
Especially my gig, I mean, I think it was that end of year show. So like in school, that was the first gig, like in a band. Like,
I mean a paid gig in a venue. In a venue.
Okay, paid gig.
Sorry,
wow. So paid gig. Okay, so confession time. I was in pubs and clubs when I shouldn't be. At that age, so meant to be obviously 18 and plus in the UK, and I was the baby of the band. The band was called Pool, Pool, and we did a lot of covers. We did covers gigs. Me and my friend Andy, he was the drummer. I was a keyboardist, as I say. Thank you, Andy, for the tenor assist. I'm joking. And he had friends, and then just joined. And there's 2 Andys. There's Joe, and Joe's still playing music, which is great. And Joe actually played at our hand fasting ceremony with his band now, like literally last year, which is fantastic. It's a full circle thing. Anyway, but so that was like cool. We started playing in pubs as a 5-piece, doing things like Too Hard to Handle and like sort of like Wipeout and stuff like that. So yeah, there was a really good that was kind of the paid gigs. That was the first paid gigs, and we thought we were really cool. Like we were coming up with a band name. We didn't know what to call ourselves, and we all played like Pool together, like while we're chilled out and not playing music. And we're like, just call it Pool. That's a really cool idea. And we had PO8L. Of course, like, you know, there was another band, Tool, but then also you had PO8L, and we thought that looked really cool. But then a local Irish bar put tonight POOL, and then and someone else had put a poster over the L. So tonight poo. So yeah, we just had Who that was great. But no, we were really happy with ourselves with that. And in another universe somewhere, that band's gone off and played Glastonbury or something. But yeah, it was a great time.
I was thinking when you said pool, putting that on a marquee could like confuse people that there's free pool or a pool competition.
Yeah. No, it went worse than that. They just took the L off.
Just straight up poo.
Really confused. Yeah.
Well, that's it. Shit.
We designed it everything with an 8-ball. We designed the 8-ball and everything. It was great. Yeah.
But isn't that the way? It's always the way. You put like all this work into something. Oh, wow, how cool is this? And then there's just this group of people that fuck it up every time. It goes in the paper, the ad, and I used to play in a band called Despised, and every gig that we got in the paper, they call us Despise, with no D on the end. It's like, how are they missing the D? Like, Despised doesn't even make sense. Like, despised, we're despised. Bizarre stuff. I'm going to play another track. I'm going to play a track from one of your older albums.
Ooh,
so I'm going to actually play the track from Apple Music. Then later on, I'm going to play the looped version you've got of it. So this is from, I'm guessing this is your second album, Continued. Yeah?
Yes, that's the second album, yeah.
And
that was my degree.
So this was, 2009 you released this?
Yeah.
So all folks, all the links to JP's music are down in the description, so make sure you go and do all the stuff. There's links to everything, his website, everything, yeah? So go and do all that. This is called Old Hill, and we'll be back to chat about it in a moment. Let's just play it, get it rocking, make sure I've got it all lined up here. Am I pro? Yes, I'm all good. Let's play this, and we'll be back shortly. This is JP, Old Hill. Boom.
This coffee is cold and half empty, and he starts to think, where have I gone in my life? Young girl, only 17, so much worry in your eyes. Just stay calm and stay focused, and you'll be flying through the skies. Don't help, so many worries, fears of conquerors and kings. Wait right here for my angel, and she can bury my wings. Where have I gone? Where have I gone? Yeah. Where have I gone? Old hill. Old hill. Old hill. Old hill. Where have I gone? Where have I gone? Yeah. Where have I gone in my life? Old hill. Old hill. Old hill.
What a beautiful song. So how did you record that album?
So that was I came back from university, did the first album, which is called The First Mile, and then I had more songs in me, and then at that time I was living with my parents, and my dad had converted the garage into a studio. And he'd put like a little studio because he's still sound engineering and he's still doing stuff. And he had a sort of like a drum booth, very small area. And I just started recording in there. I had very lucky to have that access, and it had Pro Tools at the time. And I was able to record in there and just do that like while I was working and stuff. Oh, look at this, all this lovely stuff. So yeah, the first mile was my degree. Sorry, I said continued was, it's not. Sorry, the first mile was my degree. It was actually that was my end piece for my degree. So every song in that has an emotion attached to it. It was a concept album. But continued also, by the way, shout out to Janine Hartley for her amazing photograph on Continued. That is not a painting. That is a photograph of a massive piece of ice in the Antarctic. When they went on a holiday, and I said, can I use that? And you can see a tiny little bird there, and that just shows you the scale of that photograph. And then the third one is a photograph as well, which was taken by my stepdaughter, and it's completely unedited and unaltered on walking home. That is just the photograph she took on an iPhone 8, and that's just I just squared it off and put my name on it, and it's just great pictures. So a lot of my music is always about sort of obviously emotion and how I'm feeling at the time. Old Hill was about feeling a bit older after uni. Where do I go and feeling a bit like getting old? Does a hill get old? Seeing all those castles and battles, and that was kind of where it came from, really. And that originally was born out of looping. It's a loops track originally, so I had to deconstruct it as the studio version. So I did it the other way. So it was born out of looping. I'd play it live, and then it was like, well, how do I make it a studio version? I actually wanted it to be quite simple. I didn't want it to have. I did a version of it. I've done a couple of versions of it, and I did a version of it. It's like the full blown studio with strings and vocals and choruses and everything, and and choirs and stuff. But the one that I actually did for the album was actually just a little bit of a guitar. There's a little bit of a second guitar in there, and then there's just some harmonies because I wanted it to be a little bit quieter. So that album, I'm very blessed to have access to that studio at that time, and like complete access to a studio whenever you want to. I was very grateful and very blessed to be able to do that and just spend the time in there to just refine that album.
It's bizarre, I spent a lot of my early years in studios paying a lot of money to record things.
Yeah.
So you had to get things done for the time that thousands of dollars you're spending, and you had to get it right. Yeah. And if you get the flu halfway through you've paid for 2 weeks in the studio, you're fucked. I never thought we'd ever get to the day that we are at now, where you can buy a Focusrite for like $100 on the internet, like that. You're on an iPad and you're releasing music. But I feel bad for a lot of people these days who aren't going to get the experience of going into a studio with an engineer that you're paying for, because that information and learning that was so invaluable for having a home studio.
Yeah, I think this is why a lot of people, search for days on end on YouTube, because they're looking for more information than ever before, because they don't have that access. And there's people there. There's a studio I've always wanted to go down to, which is in the sort of like north, so in the east of London, and it's completely analog. And the guy prides himself on it, and it's all valves. And I just want to go in there and record like a track just to see. And then I want to record the track, and I just want to stand next to him and go, "How are you doing these things?" Like I just want to suck in like his information and be a sponge. So yeah, just like that. Just want to see like the reel-to-reel tape and stuff, and just be able to do it like that. Ironically, after all this technology and everything else, I'd love to do that. I recorded on tape. I had a 4-track Tascam tape machine that I acquired, which basically I just would record myself and just record it with the piano and record like me singing over the top, and just to get ideas down. And that was my ideas. And I had a cassette which was like, no one records over this cassette. This is my cassette, and it's got lots of ideas on. And I'd play it back, and I'd be like, yeah, write that down. Yeah. And again, I'm still all this technology. I'll use the iPad with the pencil all the time, but I'll still sit like, crawled in a corner basically with a piece of paper and a pen, what rhymes with ocean? Just write it, doing things like that. So like you suddenly get all these things to help you, and then you go back to analog sometimes, and because you need to. If I'm still a tangible person. I've sold all my CDs. I've got rid of all my DVDs, and I'm still a tangible person. So and I've realized that, and that's fine. And I love apps. I love technology. I'm a complete and total nerd. Ask anyone. But at the same time, there's something really, really nice about we had a really nice opportunity last year, me and my wife, to go to like a cabin in Scotland for a week, and it was just like cool. Like, let's grab a pen. Yeah, and it was cool. There was no technology. There was just a radio, and I took the guitar with me, and I was just like, let's just bash out a couple of tunes. It's nice. It's the birthplace of creativity. It's just a piece of paper and a pen.
Absolutely. And if you are sitting here and you're under 18, you probably have no idea what that was that JP held up on the screen. It's called a pen.
This is called a multicolored pen, darling. This is oh yeah, 4 colors. So you can put the red on and go, I don't like that.
You haven't lived until you've written in green pen.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going down.
You ever get those pens where basically you write something and it would write 4 and 1, and it just as a kid, I missed that. I'm feeling old.
Around the same time as the calculator watch, I think. I'd like to welcome Francis Ting and I think Lauren's Garden Arts and Music. So welcome to the channel if you're first time here. Now, you released that album and you've released all your music through today's sponsor. So it's time to give them some lip service. I'll bring you in on this. Let's do this. So today's show is actually sponsored by DistroKid. Now, if you don't know who DistroKid are, they will release, and JP's got a little DistroKid icon there. What is that thing?
It's a gremlin.
It's a
DistroKid gremlin.
All right. I just...
That's the actual DistroKid gremlin. I was very, very graciously given a DistroKid gremlin for Christmas.
See, all I have is the toenail clippers, which do you know I use them nearly every day. It's so weird. I've got
the T-shirt.
They're by my bed.
In the videos, but I got that. It was really funny. You're so cute.
I want one of those.
Sorry,
too.
I'm knocking your. I'm interrupting your DistroKid.
It's all good.
But yeah, DistroKid.
There it is, right there.
There it is.
So, folks,
if you do it you look like he's ready.
Now, guys, you can sign up to DistroKid for as little as $19.99 US a year, and if you use my code, you get 7% off. It is, you can see it right up the top there, distrokid.com/VIP/Jade Starr. Today, I'm going to show you something really interesting you can do with DistroKid. So let's bounce over here, and you can see I have a lot of music released through DistroKid, and I have a lot of these. Look at these. These are splits. I have a lot of splits with people. So you can see I've got splits with Pete Johns and Razor and the Extreme, Andy Goldsby, Joe and Barry Glenn. So what are splits exactly? Well, you can release music and you can split your earnings with an artist who's featured on your song. And today I'm going to split with somebody. So all you need to do is go over here to the little splits icon up here. We'll click on splits. It says here, automatically split your payments to your collaborators. So we're going to do that. We're going to select a release. So all you really have to do, I'm going to find a track here. What do we got? Here we go. Jade, Starr, Dread Circus featuring Pete Johns. So me and Pete Johns did a cover of Ben Folds 5 Smoke. And I'm going to hit next. And I think it's about time I actually give Pete some money for this. I can't believe I haven't done it before. So here we are at our splits section here. And it's already done it for me because Pete already has a DistroKid account. It's already got his email address in there. I'm not going to give him 50%. I'm going to, that's too much. I wrote all the music. Pete did the vocals. I had to mix his vocals and cut them all up and chop them. I had to do all the comping. Let's give Pete 25%. So I'll get 75. Pete can have 25. You know what? No, screw it. Let's just do this. Let's just go the whole hog. Give Pete 50. 50-50, split down the middle. He deserves it. He's Pete Johns, man. All right, so all you need to do, once you've added in that email address, so you put in the email address, you can add more collaborators and split it even further. And then you just hit review changes. It tells you here what's going to go down. And then I hit the change. Done. And, it's asking me for my password. Oh, hang on. Am I logged in? Does everything look right? Confirm my password. No, we don't want to do that. Maybe I need to get off this screen. Let's go over here for a second. Do I have to do a password? I've never actually done a split before. Or do I put in a new password?
No, you put your existing password in because you are confirming something
Right.
that you're about to change. So you need password for your login for DistroKid.
Okay.
Not that I know that.
Here we go. So if I go to this will do it. Face ID. I hate Face ID. It's not working for me. I'm just doing this off screen. Here we go. DistroKid. Put in my password. Did it do it? No, it didn't do it. Man, come on, iPad. Oh, man, I love going live, don't you? Live is so much fun. Let me just check what the password is, and then I can type it. All right, there it is. Copy. Let's just paste it in. Confirm. Not now. Not now. All right, there we go. So let's go back to our screen here. Splits has been saved. There we go. So now, if I go back home here, we can go over to, no, so now in my splits, it should, I don't know if it goes down here. No, it probably doesn't go here. But now Pete will get an email from me saying, hey, would you like to accept some money? And then all he has to do from there is say yes. And from going forward, he will get earnings from whenever somebody listens to this. So Pete, get ready. You can give up your YouTube channel. It's all over where you're going to be rich. And but that's just one of the many things that you can do with DistroKid. It's so ridiculous, the things you can do. It's amazing. We love DistroKid. So use the link, sign up to them, release your music, unlimited music every it's just ridiculous how great it is. Who needs a record label? Screw the record labels, I say. Alrighty. So let's talk about now your family. It's something that we don't hear a lot about on your channel, but I know, being your friend, your family seems very important to you in life. How much does your family support you and get you through doing the things that you do on YouTube and creating music? How important are they?
Massively. So my parents, first of all, they're the massive influence when it came to, the early days. My dad doesn't sound engineer anymore now. He's retired. But he, if I play him a track, he'd be like, that's a bit loud. Do you want to top that down? So, constructive criticism, always welcome. It's like, hey, you're hearing it's gone, Dad. No, it's fine. So, we have a good banter about that. And then obviously my wife is kind of the person behind me. It's like I said to her, I'm gonna try this kind of YouTube lark, as it were. I've had a YouTube channel since 2009. My only regret is I wish I'd done what I did now then. Like if I'd done a video a week, I'd be like, sort of like brushing like shoulders with Mr. Beast, maybe. I don't know. But like I wanted to just help people and answer questions. I know that sounds really corny, but I did. And I was like, how do you record? How do you plug in? How do you do this? And at this time, I didn't know like if anyone else was doing this. I was like, I could plug into I could show people GarageBand. I was like, oh yeah, Patrick, the GarageBand. Okay, fair enough. It's like, I could show people how to like record stuff. Oh look, there's Pete Chance. So it was like, okay, cool. I was kind of like finding my feet on it, and then I said to my wife, look, I have like a day off in the week for my day job, and she's at work anyway. And then Sunday is our other day off, and that's our family day. Okay. The kids are kind of grown up, and like the youngest now is like 21. And it was like, okay, let's just go for this. Let's have a go. And I said, I'm going to do a video a week and I'm going to see how long it lasts. And we're still doing a video a week. Very, very graciously spurred on by people like DistroKid, because obviously they sponsor the channel. And my unique selling point, as it were, my USP is looping. It always has been looping, and I've kind of tried to diversify into like tech and reviews and this, that, and the other. But I'll always go back to looping, and it's the number one thing on the channel. And then a really strange thing happened, which I don't know if it happened over there, Jade, but about March 2020, this weird virus happened.
We call it here the inconvenience.
Okay, so an inconvenience happened in March of 2020, and in March of 2020, I also put out a video which was how to live stream for musicians, and I got like people like I had local friends. I've got a friend who's local to here, like plays local like club scene, pub scene, and he's like, I can't pay my mortgage. Look, all the pubs are closed. What do I do?
Yep.
And panicking, like really genuinely heartbreakingly panicking. I was like, right, plug that into there, like get this, get the adapter that plugs into the phone and this, that, and the other. And I was like, do you know what? There must be hundreds of people thinking of this, hundreds. I'll put a video out and just said, look, it's bad time right now. I just want to help. Here's 2 ways you can do it. One is the phone, and the second half of that video is all about OBS. Like, how do you use OBS and things like that? That one video paid for our wedding.
Wow.
So me and my wife, we were together, and we actually got married in 2020. But we're a bit older. We've had like my wife's previous marriage, but and we wanted to get married in 2020. Of course, the convenience happened, and we actually got married in between the two conveniences in the September of 2020. So everyone goes, "Oh, 2020," and I'm like, actually, that was a shining light for us, because in the middle of all that chaos, we got a fantastic wedding and then last year we had a handfasting ceremony, which was the big do that everyone couldn't come to because we could only have like 10 people at the wedding, the actual wedding. So that was just a big celebration. So my wife is very spiritual, and I'm all for it. And I had a big influence with my nan, and like we were talking about, well, we've still got this venue that we booked like years ago, and we've already got married. What do we do with this? And it's like, why don't we do a hand fasting ceremony? So we did that. So it's a fantastic thing. And then the rest of it's just like a normal wedding day. And as I said to you before, like the person who was in my first band, who was a guitarist, he is in another band now, which is a wedding band, and they played at our wedding. So it was a fantastic time. So family for me is huge, and it's one of these things where a lot of my songs have come from, obviously how I'm feeling and like most of us, but it's all about obviously points in the time. There's a song called Boscastle, and we went down to Boscastle. It's a place down in sort of like southwest UK, and it's this little town that got flooded, and as you can see, like sort of like there's two rivers that basically collided, and it flooded the entire fishing town. And what's amazing about the story is everyone survived because they all pulled together. There was like 7 helicopters all like pulling people out. No one died, even though it was absolutely swiped out pretty much. And then they built it back up again. So there's this wonderful exhibition about Boscastle and I just went, my God, I need to write about this. And it was just like, and then that's where, and again, I was looping this da 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 da. And that was the bit of looping for Boscastle. So family trips can end up in a song, and I'm sure people know that, but family's huge for me.
It is interesting, like talking about the inconvenience, because like I try and have a section of it for each interview because it impacted so many people in different ways. I mean, of course, there was a lot of death, and there was a lot of misery and a lot of sadness and sickness. But at the same time, there was this reset for a lot of people who were doing it tough and had been struggling for the longest time. And all of a sudden the government was giving them money and they were able to eat. And like and then YouTube channels started and like I started my channel during this time as well. And for some people, they got back into playing music, and it was a very polarizing time, because I look back at it now and go, wow, I blossomed. It gave me a chance to breathe. Like the world always seems like it's spinning out of control and so fast and crazy, and everyone's moving so forward, and things that we should be like focusing on going, hey, wait on a minute, that should stop, gets swept away and we're just on to the next thing. And it was a real time to reflect. And there were birds outside. You know, like animals came back and all this stuff.
The weird thing here was where I live, that you've got like sort of John Lennon Airport and with flies over, and you've got another airport just over by Wales, and there was just no trails in the sky. It was like perfectly like blue for that summer, which was crazy. This house got busier when it happened because my wife works in a hospital. It was like, right, sort of like, you know, like make sure the clothes are clean and make sure everything's okay. And I was like, you know, where my day job is a shop, and it just obviously got closed. So it was just one of these things where this house became busier because it was kind of like, you know, are the kids okay? Get the kids back in, everything else. And it's like, you know, I find it a really, obviously, really weird time because, as most people do, because yes, some people were able to like reflect. Some people, like, you know, people who work, you know, in things like hospitals and stuff, they didn't get a second. They didn't get a millisecond to think. They just had to just go onto the front line and go for it. And you know, there's things that people have seen that it was enough to see in 1 year that they seen in an entire lifetime.
Yeah.
So I think it was really, really tough and really mentally tough for a lot of people. And I don't think, you know, I think they could have. I'd say, looking back, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I'd like to say it would have been great if there was more support there, but we just didn't know what was happening. We didn't know what we could do, what we could not do. And imagine all of that, and then you're working for somewhere where it's a hospital and you don't know if you're even meant to be this distant. It was all brand new and we all panicked. And what was amazing was, you know, my wife kept going in and supporting and everything. And I take my hat off, because I've said to her before, I'm so grateful for people like you in the world, because I couldn't do your job. And I just couldn't do what you do, and I'm so grateful that you can do that, and you have a drive to go into there every day. I'd run out screaming if I had to work in a hospital. So I'm very, very grateful of people like that. And I think, you know, as I say, 2020 for us is a double-edged sword, because we had that lovely shine of light in the September of 2020 where we actually got married, and we had like a little honeymoon, which was what we called it a mini moon, because we went away, but we weren't allowed to travel. And then we got home, and 3 days later, Wales closed again because we couldn't travel, and we were in Wales for the mini moon. So we just got back, and they were like, if we'd gone a week later, we'd be stuck in Wales and couldn't get home. So yeah, it was a crazy, crazy time. And I think that I am very grateful that a lot of people turned to YouTube at that point. So I agree with you. A lot of people turned to, and I'm like, here's how you do this. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do this. And so that got me through it, because it was the insanity of it, like, just got me through that. And I was making videos, and I was like, oh my God, people are watching. People actually do like this. A great comment I got during the pandemic was a loop pedal came out, and like in 2021, and we were still in the third lockdown here. And what really solidified that for me was a guy put on a comment, no, I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to wait until what the British looper guy says. I was like, that's cool. I'm happy with that. Like, that's a review right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and when you've got like less than 1,000 subscribers, and someone's waiting for you to kind of say, yeah, that guy, I want to hear what that guy has to say about it. It's like, that solidifies I'm going on the right path here. So yeah, so it's a weird world.
It is. And much kudos to your wife for doing that, and anybody who works in that sector. Not only did they have to deal with, you know, as you said, traumatic things they're going to live with forever, and the uncertainty, but there was also a bunch of people in this world who were like, thinking this was all some like orchestrated scam. And it's like, and I would sit here during that and go, listen, these people can't even organize fixing potholes in a road as if they're going to be able to orchestrate a huge, like, come on, seriously, you know, these are the same people that sit there and go, you haven't fixed my footpath. And it's like, and you think that they've orchestrated this, like, come on, snap into reality. So, you know, anybody who's had to work through that, and then at the same time have everybody start hating on them for doing their job and caring for people. It's just unbelievably weird. I don't want to stick on that. I'm going to play another track. So you mentioned Boss Castle, and I'm going to play this track here because got to do segues, of course. So let's play this, and we'll come back, and then we'll close it out with the last half an hour talking about YouTube, and looping, and how to get the things that you sell and all that kind of jazz. All right, guys, are you ready for some loop and goodness? This is Boss Castle by JohnPaul Music UK. Boom to the boom to the boom, boom, boom.
the tide. Both of them run through each other. The land ceases, John and dies. Just a quiet and peaceful village, tucked away from the busy lights. Now they're thrown into the spotlight as the riverbank lose their fight, yeah. Helicopters hover over to pick out the poor and the posh, and the country watches the horror as the cars roll around in the wash. They're facing fear and anguish. People feel there is no hope. The lower bridge is lost, my friend. Look up and we'll throw you the rope. Big ring punching through a sandstorm, like a seagull flying through the harbor. With look on her side, she doesn't look back, but it's guessing you will live again. The elephant in the ocean holds a harbor day and night, and the wind won't test those fishing boats as they feel the briny might. The river slows its pace now and reveals the damage done. No lives have been sacrificed, only bricks and mortar gone. Storms will come and storms will go, and this cloud is clear to see. This little fishing village just keeps amazing me. Let this one event wash away the cobwebs of men. Close your eyes, sleep well tonight. Box Castle, you will live again. Big ring punching through a sandstorm, like a seagull flying through the harbor. With look on her side, she doesn't look back. Box Castle, you will live again. Big ring punching through a sandstorm, like a seagull flying through the harbor. With look on her side, she doesn't look back. Box Castle, you will live again. 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 break punch into a sandstorm, like a seagull flying through the harbor. With luck on her side, she doesn't look back, but guessing you will live again. Big break punch into a sandstorm, like a seagull flying through the harbor. With luck on her side, she doesn't look back, but guessing you will live again. 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 But guessing you will live again.
And you make it look so damn easy. So damn easy. I saw a video of you recently too. I think it was this week on Facebook of you doing a live show. I think it was fairly fresh.
Yeah.
Man, it was awesome. It was so good. Like, you make it look so fucking easy. I love that. I love that so much. I see your friends here. Now, I saw you wrote here about Medcart. I've seen Medcart before in your chat. Obsessed with vacuum cleaners. It's a weird thing. How do you deal, like, all right, so we all do live streams and we all get weird shit happen in our live streams. How do you deal with somebody who comes into your live stream and starts talking about vacuum cleaners?
I love it. To be honest with you, this thing with the Dyson thing, this was hooked, literally like, I was completely hooked. Like, what do you mean? What have I been crossed over with some kind of thing? And I was completely naive to like what was going on. And then I was like, the next one is like, is this the Dyson demo? Oh, I hope it sucks up good. I'm like, okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm thick-skinned. Go for it. Throw it at me. I don't care. I don't care like about like if someone comes in like, you know, this is all right, okay, if that's your opinion, I don't care.
Oh,
like,
look, there's worse trolls to have, man, than something like that. I saw a stream of yours once when this Medcart came in and you were doing a live performance and you actually sung a song about vacuum cleaners. It was bloody hilarious, dude. It was hilarious. Right, so
that was a real experiment. Was that the tabletop one? Was that one I was like doing stuff just like So I've been toying with this idea that there's loads of loopers out there who do this thing where they just do it like completely ad hoc, and it's already gone in the chat. Mark Rebillier, I can never remember to say his name. Mark Rebillier, I'd love to interview him. Mark Rebillier just literally has owned that over lockdown, where he's got like everyone loves his alarm clock sound. Get out of bed, bitch, go! And it's just really cool. But like he's been doing that for years. He's honed his skills so well. And I was like, do you know what? Screw it, I'm gonna give it a try. So I got the 505 Mark II. I got the iPad plugged in directly through USB, and it's just like that's my keyboard. And then another one was like my friend Trevor came up on the Facebook group, and it was kind of like my cats are fighting, and I was like, and I just started with, "This is your fault, Trevor. This is your fault, Trevor." And I just looped that, and I was just like, and it was like the cats are fighting, and it turned into a drum and bass tune. I don't even know where that came from. So I'm glad it was recorded, because if I've watched it back, I've actually watched myself back and gone, I don't remember doing that. Like I just like, and it was just in the moment, and it's just a lot of fun, and like, so certainly when you've got a chat going and this, that, and the other, and yeah, we've had fun. I mean, my cat likes to have fun, don't we? They do like the Dyson. So yeah, just like you've got to have fun. I mean, doing looping. I've said this story a billion times. I'm going to say it again. I was playing live in Chester, in the UK, and there was a very, very small stage. It wasn't really a stage. It was just like the person like who was drinking like in front of me was there. Like it was like really close. And there's a guy kind of like watching and people going on and off, and it was like an open mic thing, but you got like 15, 20 minutes, which is quite good. And then I've got my loop pedal there, very similar to what you saw in that video. And I'm looping and putting this beat down, and this guy's looking the other way, and he's kind of like just like looking at, and the bars at the back, and he's kind of like looking at, and then you've got the door right there. I suppose we're at the back really. And he's looking there, and he just suddenly goes, "Oi, Dave!" Like really, really loud, like "Oi, Dave!" And he's right next to it, and it went into the loop, and I was just like, and literally just going, "Hi, Dave!" And I was like, right, okay, I've got two options here. Like, I can either stop it and go, "Oh bloody hell,
no way,"
or I just went, screw it, let's leave it in.
Yeah.
So I left it in, did my song on top of it. I kind of had to almost ignore it. People are just laughing. And I went, thank you very much. That song is now called Oi Dave. And he just put his hand out and shook my hand. I was like, that's boss, mate. Yeah, that's great, funny. So there is a bit of a insanity that comes with looping. If you look at the cross section of people who do looping, there's this bit of you've messed up. You've messed it up. I've pressed a button before, like through a song, and it's completely deleted the loop. And it's like 15 loops in, I've done it all. I've done all that. So you have to take a little bit of a pinch of salt with it. You can't be too, well, it's got to be exactly like the CD. It's never going to be exactly like the CD.
Yeah.
Because you'll be there for 4 hours before you sing a song, before you sing a word. So you've just got to make your own version of it. And there is a bit of humor that goes with it. I always like to put a humoristic spin on it. Is that even a word? So yeah, you've got to be a bit thick to looping. You can't be perfect with it. You can't be fragile with it. You've just got to throw it in and just that sticks, and that's what it is. If the timing's out, no, obviously, and that's what I said right at the beginning. I said get that first loop down. As long as that's solid enough, put whatever you like on top. It doesn't matter. It's all right. People go. I've said it before at gigs, and I've said like cover gigs. We do cover gigs, and you're the person in the corner, and they go play Wonderwall, and you're just going like. You're just playing in the corner, and I've actually said, thank you very much for listening, even though you're listening for completely free. And then I'll just carry on looping because they don't care. They just want to hear what they want to hear and just want to get drunk and dance to it.
I think that is for all entertainment. You've got to. Perfection doesn't exist. I mean, if you're chasing perfection, it's not going to happen. But chasing imperfectly perfect is the way to go. And I think being a comedian. Being just an entertainer, a singer, you have to be able to be on the fly and move with what's happening with your audience because it's unpredictable. I've done stand-up comedy myself and had gigs where they're totally dead and then some asshole yells out "You're shit," and if you're unable to quickly turn that into gold, you shouldn't be doing comedy. Absolutely not.
I have total respect for comedians, and I love them. I love stand-up comedy as a form anyway, and I love the timing. And I can't do it. I'd love to do it, but I'd just be ripping off other people's material. I can't come up with my own jokes in that respect. However, if someone says something, some kid I was playing at Christmas. This is going back years. God, I've just remembered this now. Some kid just basically just like. For the sake of it, just decided to be cool with his mates and like flick it up with 2 V's at me. And I went, "Merry Christmas to you too, young man." And I couldn't you just have to be quick with that. But at the same time, like with looping, you're doing something that's really odd anyway. And they're like, "What's he doing?" And what's that? And you get someone else going, "Well, that's a looper." And you get someone like who knows what they're talking about and explain it to them. You can see them talking to each other and you can see the other person going, "Right. Oh, the Ed Sheeran thing. Yeah. Okay, yeah." And it's like, and even if I've done all the looping and I've said it multiple times throughout the gig, like everything you're hearing is done live and this, that, and the other. Someone will come up to me after the show. "Was that a backing track?" Like, it's just, and you're going, "Why am I doing this?" But yeah, you've got to just take the chops with it. You've got to take the good and the bad, and it's fine. You're gonna mess up. And I think it's better to mess up and laugh about it than look like a deer in headlights and go, oh, what do I do now? Like you need to get past that point because like you're just going to look a bit more professional on stage, if I'm honest.
It's interesting. Like during our conversations, you continue to refer to it as looping, and when you're doing looping, it's interesting because I don't see you and go, "Oh, that guy's a looper." I see you and go, "That guy's a musician." Are people like this? I mean, back in the day, I remember, we were talking about this earlier with music segregation. You like metal, so you suck. You got to like this kind of. And I remember being very much as a metalhead going, "I don't like dance music because it's not music." Are people still like fucked in the head with this whole, "Oh, he's not a musician, he's a looper"? Are people like that? Do you have to come up against that?
No, I think that's my take on it. I think a musician will look at another musician and go, "That's a loop pedal. He's doing looping," in inverted commas. But no, I think like the general public would just be like, "Oh, that's cool. What's he doing?" Or "What the hell's that?" Like, and it's just for me, like seeing even like just going to an open mic night and just doing looping, sorry, but like performing looping, you know what I mean? doing looping. Even just going to know, it just like it elevates you above every other person who's just stood there with a guitar and singing. And no disrespect to those people, I've heard some beautiful songs. Went to this amazing open mic night, and if you're ever in the UK, this is a selfish plug because it's one of my friends, but if you're ever in Manchester, go to the Whiskey Jar open mic night, and just go and watch it, because it is rammed every Tuesday, so much so that there's about a 4 to 6 week waiting list to get on
Wow.
there. Beautiful, and it's wonderful, and it's musicians at their top of the game, and I've played them many times. Thank you very much.
I know. I watched a couple of videos. I loved open mic nights. I love them. I used to play
But
them all
it's
the
like-
time.
It's one of those things where, like, with looping at an open mic night, you've got about 10 minutes. You've got to be quick. You can't be looping for like 4 minutes and then start singing the verse. It's getting that balance between being entertaining, but also at the same time, like, so you're not boring the audience, but also getting your song across. I'm still struggling with that. I'm still trying to. I was going to say perfect that, but I'm not talking about perfection. I'm still trying to get better at that. I'm still a practicing musician.
I think you're a musician. I think you're 100% a musician, because I find it really incredible. It's like I'm a drummer as well. I've been drumming for like 2.5 years and been lucky enough to play on a lot of Pete Johns songs, and I'm a shit drummer. I'm blessed for that. But the amount of rhythm it takes, it's like patting your head and rubbing your stomach, you and I look at that with looping. I just look at it like as a musician who's like multitasking. I prefer that term to a looper, a multitasking musician. You're the Eminem of rock and roll. There you go. We can just make shit up as we go.
I've never been called that.
the Eminem of rock and roll. That's what you're going to be to me forever. But yeah, I do find it interesting because, I remember in Sydney going to gigs when it was really hard to get a gig as a band, and there was always some doofus sitting there with a keyboard and a drum machine built into his Casio, and we'd be doing covers, and I'd walk in the pub and just go, fuck this, I'm out of here, I'm not listening to this shit. But if I had walked in and seen somebody performing with looping gear, I would have sat down and just gone, this is the shit, man. Like, you say Ed Sheeran, I guess, is he the dude who's made it like commercially viable?
Yeah, I think in the modern sort of pop world, yes.
Right.
So Ed Sheeran, my influence was Katie Tunstall with the Black Horse and Cherry Tree and that album, and I've seen her live and seen how she's played the loop pedal with her band, and there's a click track somewhere going to the drummer. Well, I think I'm always trying to find out like what they're using. So that's why I kind of developed the How Do You Loop series on YouTube, but Ed Sheeran, whether you like him or you hate him, it doesn't matter. He's the only man who's been able to book a solo gig for Wembley sold out for 4 nights in a row. You have to take your hat off to that, like a man with a guitar and a pedal. And it's not just a pedal, it's a very clever piece of kit. And now he has a band and everything else, and he's touring. Apparently he's Auckland, I think he was just in, he's touring with this massive rig, and it's incredible. And then the other night, it was actually on Instagram, they had a problem and they couldn't actually use the loop pedal. And the sound tech came up and was like, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, so we haven't got the loop pedal. And then there was no sense of fear. It was kind of like, okay, cool, we haven't got the loop pedal. And he just said it to the audience, said, we've got a bit of a technical issue. The looper's not coming back for the rest of the night. And he's got this whole show like this in the circle show. And the half of the show was him and acoustic guitar, and he did this really clever thing, and he just incorporated the audience as his looper. And he went, okay, cool, sing this, da, 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 da. And they sang that, and he's going, da, 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 and he's singing over the top of it, and it's really clever. So he hasn't got a looper, but he just uses the audience, who love him, by the way, of course, because they do.
Yeah.
So if he says this, they'll say how high, and he just did this great thing. And I again take my hat off that. If you strip all that looping and all that technology away, does your song still translate? Like, could you do your song just acoustically with no tech, no looping? Will it still send a message? And so I'm always writing my music. If I write with a looper, I'll go, well, I need to make sure I can just play it and busk it in the street without a looper. And I've done busking. I've done busking in the street. I love busking, in fact.
Same here.
I can't wait for it to be above 12 degrees so I can go out there. And it's freaking cold in the UK.
It's sweating here. It's terrible.
I'm very jealous, actually. So you said Freaky Friday. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. So, yeah, I think like the looping is it's just like any other thing. It's like it's an effect. It's a pedal. It's effect, or it's it's something like that. One thing I'm watching at the moment, if you ever want to see looping and its core and like what people can do with it, is just go into YouTube and put GBB23. So it's the loop, the beatboxers looping. Now, I'm not massively into beatboxing. I like to go boots and cats every once again. But if you see what these guys are doing with the 505s, they are creating entire dance tunes, entire drum and bass tunes, entire like ensembles just with their voice and vocoders in the side that they, and it's incredible. I have absolute awe for it. So if you put in, there you go. So this is the wild card system. So this is the beatboxing championships, and I actually follow it. There's a great guy called Saro, Saro, and he did this amazing tune. But and that was back in 2017. But yeah, the if you put the GBB 23 wild card, because the wild cards are going in at the moment, and wild cards are where they anyone can go in as a wild card, and it's a competition, and the competition's in Japan, and they're about 3 minutes long, and they are doing more like mixing, looping, DJing all in one go than I'll do in a 45-minute set in 3 minutes, and it's incredible. The creativity is massive, and I really want to learn that, because yes, I do looping and everything else, and I do looping. I'm really aware of that now. I do looping. But I live by this. If you're the most intelligent person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Go and learn from someone else.
Absolutely.
So I want to learn from these guys because and girls and people, because they are just doing these techniques that I've never done. And I think when you're looping on a pedal that's on the floor, you put the loop down and that just spins around. You either turn it off or you turn it on. These people are actually taking that loop and making a whole new tune out of that loop with effects, which is incredible. For me, it's another level. So it's mind blowing what they can do with it.
Now, if you had only one looping pedal you could recommend for somebody to get, which would that be? I know, man. I'm making it hard for you. I don't care.
Only one.
Yep. Because people are going to come over to your channel anyway and see all the rest of them, but just one. If somebody wanted to start, and get doing it.
The Boss RC600. If I can only recommend one, I'd recommend the flagship, the Boss RC600 loop station. The reason being is it's 6 loops. Now that might scare a lot of people, but if you're only just starting, you can just start with one, and then you can advance up from there. If I get recommended something like, I don't know, like a Boss RC5 or a Ditto looper or something like that, then you would hit the ceiling of that, and then you'd have to go and get another looper. Whereas this is like the flagship for Boss. Or, I'm not allowed to pick another.
No more. No, that's it. You're going to have to go over to his channel, folks, and find out, because there's heaps of them. Look at that, but that's $1,000. I've been looking to get one. That's $1,000. But so we'll consider it. And I see on your channel you have something similar to this baby here. Now that is this.
Oh yeah.
Now you use the one with the guitar, the TC Helicon Voice Play, I think you use, yeah? And this is how you get...
Play acoustic.
Play acoustic. This is the play, yeah? This is how you get your amazing harmonies going with the vocal harmonizer. I've done a show on this. This thing is amazing. This is one... These guys make some amazing vocal pedals.
Yeah. They used to.
This is old, yeah.
The TC Helicon stuff, like I've used other pedals from other places. I've used other apps from other places, and nothing comes close. I don't know what they did. There's some kind of algorithm inside that pedal where you just go, I'm playing a G chord, and I'm also in DADGAD, and you just go for it, and it just goes, a third up and a fourth down, or high and a higher, on a low and a lower, or an octave and octave. and it just works. I've even played like different chords and sung the same note, and it's going da 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 da, and it's changing the pitch, and it's just so good. I think it's the most human sounding ones. I've had the Voice Live 3 Extreme, I've had the Voice Live 3, I've had the Voice Live Touch, the Touch 2. I've gone through the Voice Live range in my time with TC Helicon. TC Helicon are now bought by Music Tribe, and they're now making like audio interfaces.
Yeah, it's not
And
good.
I'm just so gutted, because there's a whole team of people who are like, when's the Voice Live 4 coming out? When's the Voice Live Play 2 coming out? I don't think it will.
No.
Because the people, if you watch the videos that they did at that time when they brought them out, I can't remember the guy's name, something Lang, and Craig, I don't actually think they're in the company anymore. And I remember someone saying to me, like, TC Helicon, which was the arm of TC Electronics at the time, was about 9 people, or 9 or 12 people, something like that. That was it, for the whole arm of TC Helicon, and it was the harmony and vocal arm of TC Electronics, and it's fabulous, and it's just never died. And you see in that Boss Castle one that I've got the RC 300, and next door to it is the actual Touch 2, which is meant to be used by your hands, and I've got the extender pedal so you can use it on the floor. And I've always gone back to TC Helicon. I've tried to get rid of them. I can't. I don't want to. I've gone, oh, there's a vocalist in this thing, and there's this. No, I want a dedicated one, and they've got some great sounds. I've done multiple videos on the TC Helicon Voice Live Play Acoustic and the settings I use, because I think it is a fantastic pedal. That has a looper
amazing.
in it, so you could technically loop with that as
Yeah.
well. It is a one-track loop and pretty basic, but yes, you could technically.
It is amazing. It just does. And if you can sing well already, it just makes your voice incredible. So we've only got 8 minutes to go, and I want to play this last track, and that goes for about 6 minutes. So we've got to kind of rush. And Pete Johns is up next. Now, I know you've got courses, right? So what I'm going to get people to do, you've got a bunch of courses that people can sign up for. They can all be found on your website. All of the details are down in below, folks, in the description. I want you to go and subscribe to JP right now. Just go and hit the subscribe, and go and spend an afternoon just listening and watching him perform some of these songs, and it's very inspiring. And go and check out his gear reviews too, because you do a lot of them. And I know what I like about your gear reviews. You find stuff that a lot of people don't review. A lot of people review all the big names and stuff, and you go and find these quirky little tools and things which I've never even heard of, and these little sticky things you can put on here, and you just always got these weird things, man. I love that. I think that's really cool. So go and do all the things. Go and do all the clicky stuff down below. I'm going to hit you with our last question. I'll smash everybody with before we get out of here. And thanks, Thomas, for banging all those links in. Thomas Christ is the greatest mod ever. He sure is. So there's all the links. If you were going to give advice to somebody starting out making music, when would you tell them is the best time to start producing music?
Today. Do it now.
Done deal.
Learn on the way. Like, don't learn, do it, and learn on the go. So you've got loads of these different things, incremental learning, blah, blah, blah. All you got to do is start now, fail. Definitely fail, because you'll learn from the failure, and then you'll go maybe 1% more. And then just bring out rubbish. Go to my YouTube channel, scroll all the way to the very bottom, and that's what I started with. And then from there, you just kind of carry on going, and you'll see me going, hello, I am not reading from a script, honest. And you can see like the real awkwardness. So if you want to laugh, have a look at that. But no, producing music, just go for it. Just download an app, use GarageBand, whatever, and then just start running with recording stuff, and then learn on the go, and then just dive into it from there, and just keep recording. That's all I'd say. I
say it every day on this channel. Make mistakes, because mistakes make you better. You know, and it's not a catchphrase. Just make as many mistakes as you can, because guess what? You're always going to make them. No matter how many tutorials you watch on YouTube, no matter how many Rick Beato videos you watch, you're still going to make mistakes. And that means you're living. Yeah? Because we're not perfect. I want to thank you so very much for coming on the show, JP. I could sit here and talk to you forever. You're a wealth of knowledge. You're an entertaining human being, and you're a very, very talented musician. Yeah? So I'm not going to call you a looper.
I don't mind if you do. It's fine.
You're the Eminem of rock and roll, my friend. It's sticking now. And Medcart, no Dyson for you today. But all right, so I'm going to go out and play another cover here. This is one of my favorite songs. This is a cover of Wicked Game by Chris Isaak. I fucking love this. You did such a bang-up version of this. So I want to end with this. Please stay on the line with me so once the show's finished, I can say goodbye to you off the channel. Guys, I'm going to automatically dump you over to Pete Johns' channel as soon as this show is over for his podcast. I've got a live performance coming up this weekend, continuing on the second episode of my Singing Live, my forthcoming album of 22 tracks. We're doing another 7 tracks from it. So that's going to be fun. And yeah, thank you so much, JP, for coming on the show. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to DistroKid, who sponsored this show. And I love you so much, DistroKid. And let's go out with this wonderful Chris Isaak track, Wicked Game. Do the things that make you happy, folks. Remember, mistakes make you better, and we'll all rise together. Thank you, JP. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Bye. Whoops. That would help if I queued things up properly. Professional, go.
On fire, no one can save me but you. Strange what desire will make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. I never dreamed that I'd love somebody like you. wicked game to play that make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do, to let me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say, you never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do, to make me dream of you. And I don't wanna fall in love. This one is gonna break you down. And I don't wanna fall in love. This one is gonna break you down. With you. This one is gonna break you down. With you. What desire will make foolish people do. I never dreamed